Hello, my name is Kay and welcome back to another house flipper video. So, things are going to be a little bit different in today's episode. You may notice at the top of your screen that we have a lot more money because all of these jobs with these beautiful before and after pictures I completed without recording, and that was a deliberate choice because I started recording some of them and they weren't particularly interesting. A lot of them were just cleaning up jobs, and all of these I completed. Going down to students dump is where I started, and all of these I completed off camera. And that was very, very, very deliberate. That was a choice because I wanted to get into more flipping. So today we are flipping the abandoned house that I bought for $37,692.91. A house from the 1950s with an original layout of the rooms for general renovations. A large plot. It is a large plot, and I am not at the point where I feel confident that we will make our money back or have it be financially worth it to enter the garden contest. So I have not done any gardening yet, but soon. And you see a new skill point just showed up. So while I've been working on these jobs, I have been unlocking many skills here. Cleaning. I finally got my multiple trash disposal. I'm not going to read out all the ones that I completed. If you want to pause the video and look at them, feel free. But just to give you an idea, Handyman is completely unlocked. And here we are, demolition. I didn't unlock anything for demolition. I don't believe so. Oh wait, yes I did. I unlocked professional hammer. So glad that I pointed that out. Nothing for building. We are now have the increased chance of successful negotiations by complete total of 20%, which is very useful. And gardener skills are all completely done. So before we get started, I'm just going to run around this house and clean it up. I actually recorded another video right after this. So I'm a little bit shaky on what I did in what house, so it's like I'm watching it for the first time, right along with you. This house, if you look at the mini map, sometimes when you use the gardening hose outside, it will also remove dirt from the inside of the house, which is great. Now, if this house looks very, very familiar, it's because it is the exact same layout as the house that we just flipped, the house that was in the fire. And that's kind of a issue that I have with House Flipper is that some of the houses are just completely identical, and it's like, I just flipped this and I loved what I did to it, so why do I have to flip it again? But you know, it's money, it's fun, it's an opportunity to try something different. There was a spoon embedded in the floor there. I'm not sure how that happens. Now, the layout changes that I made to the house in a fire are exactly the same changes that I will be making to this house, with the exception of, I believe I make the bathroom a little bit bigger. But yes, everything is very dirty. We're cleaning it all up, and I'm not going to be keeping the radiators in the houses that I flip. They take up wall space that we really don't need to be taking up the space. Where I live, there are no radiators. I have never lived in a house with a radiator. I know that I have friends that have lived in houses with radiators, but I don't know how common, newer houses are to have radiators. But yeah, I just take them out because they take up space, and I get about $500 back for each radiator hookup that I sell. So why not just sell them? And I had mentioned before about how I wanted to create like a half wall room for where the kitchen is, and I didn't in the house with a fire, but I did it this time. So yeah, just running around, breaking up some walls here. Same thing as I did in the last one, with a few changes. You shall see. This house, I really struggled, which is surprising to me because I usually am very confident in my design choices. And I'm like, yes, I might change my mind a few times, but overall, I'm really satisfied with the end result. This one, I made so many changes. So I edited out a lot of the stuff that I ended up not keeping in because it was a waste. I'm trying to keep these videos right around 20 minutes or a little bit shorter. And this video in total was about 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer. And nobody wants to sit through watching me change my mind 100 times. So just be aware that in all of these videos, a lot is going to be cut out because I try to cut out the stuff that I don't think is very interesting, like me tiling and putting down flooring. But let's talk about the tiling in this room. I love it. I think it's so pretty. It's not something I would ever have in like a house that I would live in, but I just really, really like it. Also, you'll notice that I start using a lot more expensive items. I'm not using the little cheapy sink and cheapy showers and things, and cheapy toilets even. I am using a lot of items from the luxury stuff because I love the luxury items so much, and it has been such a struggle being on a budget and not being able to use them. So now that our financial situation is much more stable, I'm very confident in using nicer items. So here is the before and here is the after. This time I went with stonework on the outside of the house. The kitchen, if you see it in the background behind where I'm standing right now, it will be going away. I just was not satisfied with it. I didn't like it. I tried all kinds of different combinations of how I wanted it set up, and I just wasn't satisfied. So rather than feeling disappointed that I didn't like the way it looked, I just got rid of it. And I am very happy with that choice. Also, my game was very laggy for whatever reason. I don't know why. It seems to have really come to a head when the luxury stuff came out. Whenever I open up the tablet, it just seems to lag horribly, especially when selecting furniture. So I did cut out some of that. Here I am trying to find a bookcase, and again, couldn't find anything I liked until I got down here and I started to come together at this point. Things still get moved around an awful lot, but I started to get a feel for how I wanted this house to be. So for this living room area, I went with a dark wood floor, the paneling, half paneling on the walls. I didn't want it to be completely paneled on the walls because I think it would just be too dark and too overpowering as far as dark colors in such a small living space. But I went with red curtains, and at this point it all started to feel a little bit matchy-matchy, and that will be remedied. I added in colors of dark blue and kind of like a sage green, which are not color combinations I would usually go for. But this is the bedroom. I'll get more in color in a little bit. The bedroom, I went with the amaranth walls and the dark gray wallpaper. I love that combination. One of our earliest jobs, and I did make a video for it, was painting the walls amaranth and dark gray. And although I only used the dark gray paint, the first time I played the game, I put both of those colors together and I thought that they looked really, really nice. So I wanted to keep them for something else. And this bed I wasn't wild about, but it's a small space, so I kept it. And also, once again, we're getting a little too matchy-matchy with these curtains, but I will be bringing in more color later. Originally, I had this huge closet area in the corner, but it was taking over the whole room. And so I decided to move the bed and have these little dressers act as nightstands, but I didn't like that either. So I ended up changing this for sure, because whenever I'd walk past, I would get stuck on the bed. So that is going to change, but we have these really cool lights that actually hang up on the half walls. So now we have like a gray, black, and white and red for the living room. And I'm starting to add some gold into the bedroom and light blue into the bathroom. And I love the gray, amaranth, and gold together. These poor little dressers will be all over the room. I'm going to change them around so many times. So if you see something and you're like, why is she putting that there? It will all make sense later, I promise. But these are just kind of like the growing pains, just trying to figure out what piece of furniture do I want? How do I want it to be set up? And there goes the kitchen. So I put a chair in instead with a bookcase. And I don't recall if I keep the bookcase there. Yes, I do. There we go. The bookcase will move and be somewhere else. There will be a different bookcase there later, but for now, here we go. The dark blue is starting to come in. I wanted to use this picture, and I just got rid of the windows completely so I'd have room for it. So yeah, a lot of times if I'm kind of stumped on what color story I want to tell, I will look at the different wall art in the game, and I will pull out colors from the wall art. I also removed the red tile that was in this kitchen area, and I replaced it with this red paint. I really like this color. It's really rich and warm, and I realized that I had never painted this little area up here, so I just got this completed fairly quickly. But we are painting so much faster now, and not just because I sped up the video. We totally are painting much faster. And I did change out the sofa from red to this green color, which is not exactly the sage green in the painting. It's kind of lighter than that, but I wanted something different. And that's what I love about this game, is being able to use different color combinations you wouldn't normally go with. And I chose this blue painting for this side, and there's our red painting I'm going to put on the other side. We have little tables with really cool lamps, but I eventually get rid of both of those because I didn't want the tables and lamps in there how I originally had them. So we're getting into the decorating phase, which is one of my favorite phases. Time for all the plants. Now, I mentioned before that the elderly couple likes 2 plants or many plants, but maybe I don't want to sell to the elderly couple this time. On the far left of the screen, you'll see that the elderly couple is not at the top of the list of potential buyers. Instead, a young woman is, and she loves art on the walls. She loves artistic pieces of furniture like that bookcase I'm working on right now. She comments that it's a very artistic looking bookcase, so she really likes that. And she also loves flowers. She's okay with plants, but specifically she says that she loves flowers. And I'm not sure if that makes a big difference, but I always try to add actual flowering plants when I'm trying to sell to her. So I'm just doing little decorations here, looking for places for things to go. I don't really use these vases very often, so I thought that that would be fun. And then lighting. I spent a lot of time adjusting this lighting to how I wanted it, and thankfully I cut out a lot of that because we're talking about 15 minutes playing with lights. But I know what I like, and if I'm not happy with it, I'm not going to keep it. Which is why, for example, that kitchenette, I didn't like it. It was time to go. So I am going to use this picture, but in a smaller size, and it will not be staying where it is right now. It's kind of like a big bright spotlight on the painting. And now I'm going to do some little decorations, I guess you could call them. They're more accessories for the bathroom. We don't have a lot of shelving in this bathroom, so it's kind of minimal. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to go all out for the bathroom every single time. I'm probably going to show different ways to decorate without it being, hey, we have to get out the shampoo now, and now it's time for the conditioner. You know what? People are buying this house. They can figure it out. Now here's something that I never, ever use, and it is a bench. And I love these benches. I don't know why I never use them, except that I never think to use them. And this one is particularly large. So here we go. This is one example of how I have to move things around to get things exactly where I want them. This is why I usually cut a lot of this stuff out, because it does take some time. So right here, there we go. That's where I want it. And then the plant just works perfectly right there. Then I wanted to move that light around. This poor light just gets moved around and moved around. And thankfully, there's enough room on the windowsills to get the plants to fit, which is wonderful. I get rid of that light anyway. All that fussing for nothing. And here's where I move this picture over. And I end up deleting that, and I start adding some plants in here, and that's when I realize that these end tables, they should probably go away. There's really no need for them. There's a big coffee table right in front of them, so why keep it? I had different plans for this plant, but it ended up being too small or too tall for wherever I wanted to put it. So it ends up right there. But we are just about done here. I don't think there's much more that I did. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts. How could I forget? So those little square mirrors that I used before, I made them kind of like diagonal. So they are, instead of being squares, they're now diamonds. And I put them at an angle on the wall. And this is like the last final tour before we are ready to sell the house. All in all, I'm really happy with this. At first, I was kind of hesitant. I was really disappointed that I didn't like how the kitchen was working out, but there's always time to adjust and change things and make them exactly how you want them. So even if you have to close the game, not look at it for a week and go back to it, it's okay because you got there. So now we're going to put the house on auction. We paid $37,692.91. It has 4 rooms, and already we can see that we're going to be making a profit because the lowest bidder is at $50,000. So let's see, how did we do? There we go, Miss Veronica. She was happy about the art. She would like a little more artistic disorder rather than it being completely clean, I suppose. But our profit right now is $17,000, and I wanted to see if we could get it up to $20,000. So we're going to negotiate. We have the negotiation perk, so there we go. She accepted it. So we made $20,631.11 profit. And here's the photo reel. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. Please leave your comments and suggestions down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.